Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. 2025 NFL Draft, Dane Brugler predicts Cowboys use first two picks on offense. Dane Brugler, the Athletic's NFL draft guru, just recently dropped his latest 2025 mock draft predicting what all 32 teams could do with their first two picks based on team needs and information gathered from conversations with sources in the NFL and college football. As far as the Dallas Cowboys are concerned, Brugler seems to think they will target the offensive side of the ball early and often with their first two selections in the 2025 NFL Draft. This could very well be the approach Dallas ends up taking in April, but only time will tell. Until then, let's take a look at who he predicts the Cowboys will take. 12. Dallas Cowboys, Luther Burden 3, WR, Missouri. The Cowboys have to find more answers in the passing game, outside of CeeDee Lamb. Burden is an explosive threat at all three levels, but does his best work with the ball in his hands, becoming a running back after the catch. With the 12th overall pick in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft, Brugler predicts the Cowboys will upgrade their passing game by drafting wide receiver Luther Burden 3 out of Missouri. He would immediately step in as the WR2 behind CeeDee Lamb and give Dak Prescott another dynamic playmaker to upgrade Dallas' aerial attack. While Brugler's reasoning is sound and could be exactly the way things play out for the Cowboys, it is interesting to see he thinks in Dallas would pass up on Boise State RB Ashton Jeanty, who has been connected to Dallas for a while. By the way, Jeanty ended up sliding all the way to 20th overall to the Denver Broncos. Deciding between WR Luther Burden and RB Ashton Jeanty would no doubt be an interesting and tough decision to make for the Cowboys if this is how things play out. One reason to pass on Jeanty is that the 2025 RB draft class is deep, whereas the WR draft class isn't considered to be so. Maybe that's why Dane Brugler believes the Cowboys would target WR over RB in the first round and why he decided to go with the latter with their second-round pick, 44th overall. 44. Dallas Cowboys, Travion Henderson, RB, Ohio State. His vision and tempo as an inside runner aren't always consistent, but Henderson has the acceleration to create big plays anytime he touches the rock. He has really shined with Chip Kelly's pin-pull blocking concepts. His versatility as a blocker and pass catcher gives him a clear path to NFL playing time. Travion Henderson is considered to be a top 5 running back in the 2025 draft class and was the 4th RB selected in Brugler's mock draft. The 5 feet 10 inches, 210-pound RB is half of the dynamic duo with Quinton Judkins at Ohio State and rushed for 967 yards and 10 touchdowns for the Buckeyes this season, averaging an impressive 7.3 yards per carry. With the need to upgrade their rushing attack, Henderson makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys with the 44th overall pick. He checks all of the boxes NFL teams look for in a starting RB and should be able to upgrade Dallas' rushing attack. Again though, it is interesting Dane Brugler decided to pass up on Ashton Jeanty, the best RB in the 2025 draft class, in the first round for the Cowboys to select Henderson for them with their second-round pick. After all, Ole Miss WR Trey Harris and Stanford WR Alec Iomanor were still available for Dallas at 44 according to Brugler's mock draft. It is an interesting topic of debate whether Brugler is correct that the Cowboys would go WR over RB in the first round or vice versa. But, that's one of the fun aspects of doing these mock drafts. It opens up lines of discussions as to what may or may not happen and what would like to see happen. Only time will tell how things actually play out. Cowboys' first reported head coaching interview is an absolute home run. The Dallas Cowboys are expected to conduct a wide-ranging search for their next coach after such an unceremonious end to the Mike McCarthy era. That search is beginning with a former head coach in Robert Saleh, who is looking for a second chance to prove he can lead a team. Saleh was fired by the New York Jets midway through his 4th season. Considering all of the Woody Johnson-induced craziness behind the scenes, the performance of the team after he was fired, and how beloved he was by his players, many believe he got a raw deal. Saleh drew praise from within the Jets and around the league for his defensive acumen. If the Cowboys, who traditionally value past head coaching experience when trying to fill an opening, want a defensive mastermind on their squad, Saleh might be the best available option. According to Ian Rappaport, the Cowboys are expected to interview Saleh for their vacant head coaching role. This would be the first confirmed interview after some ceaseless Deion Sanders buzz early in the process. Saleh went 20-36 as Jets head coach, failing to make the playoffs. However, when you only get 5 full games with Rodgers and 34 with Zach Wilson, what was he supposed to do? Saleh built the Jets into a defense that ranked first in EPA per play and third in success rate since the start of the 2022 season, and they fell to 28th in that statistic in 2024 after he was fired. On one hand, Saleh would have a fully formed Dak Prescott, which could allow him to focus almost entirely on defense and leadership. Saleh's work with Sauce Gardner could be just what Trayvon Diggs needs, and Micah Parsons could be unleashed as a pass rusher in his scheme. On the other, Saleh's inability to put together a quality offensive coaching staff was perhaps his biggest mistake as Jets head coach. Saleh had yet to put together a winning season with New York, which could lead many to wonder if he is better served as a Steve Spagnuolo type who crushes defense, yet fails when overseeing everything. The Cowboys will need to act fast if they want Saleh, as there is seemingly a 100% guaranteed chance of him taking a defensive coordinator job if none of his head coach interviews lead to anything. Saleh seems like a perfect candidate to get it right with a second chance, and Dallas may be a good spot for him. Cowboys request interview with Leslie Frazier. Veteran coach Leslie Frazier's road back to a head coaching position continues this offseason. The former Vikings head coach has been requested to interview for the open head coach job in Dallas today, according to Todd Archer of ESPN. A disciple of the Andy Reid coaching tree, Frazier got his NFL start as a defensive backs coach for the Eagles in 1999. It didn't take long for Frazier to get his first defensive coordinator gig in 2003 for the Bengals. Despite making major improvements to the unit over 2 seasons, Frazier was dismissed. After 2 years as an assistant to Tony Dungy in Indianapolis, Frazier was hired as defensive coordinator in Minnesota in 2007. He added the assistant head coach title in 2008 and eventually had to step up as interim head coach when the team fired Brad Childress. Frazier became one of the few examples of interim head coaches getting the permanent job the following year. Though he struggled through his first season with the team, going 3-13, his second season saw a 10-6 record take the Vikings to the playoffs, the biggest single-season turnaround in franchise history. The success wouldn't last long, though. A 5-10-1 season in 2013 led to Frazier's dismissal. Frazier spent the next 2 years as defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay, thought the team did not pick up his option for another year. He worked for a year as the Ravens defensive backs coach before getting hired as the Bills defensive coordinator in 2017. Frazier found a home in Buffalo, staying in one place for over 5 years for only the second time in his coaching career. Eventually, though, in 2023, Frazier made the choice to step away from the team in order to pursue another head coaching gig. After sitting out the 2023 NFL season, Frazier participated in head coaching interviews for the Raiders and Chargers and a defensive coordinator interview for the Dolphins. After failing to land another position, Frazier took a position on rookie head coach Mike Macdonald's staff in Seattle as assistant head coach. His pursuit for a second chance as a head coach will continue with this interview to replace Mike McCarthy in Dallas. He becomes just the 4th candidate mentioned for his position. Here's the full list of candidates mentioned for the Cowboys. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Leslie Frazier? Leave your opinion in the comments.